Hello and welcome to this video cast. The agenda for today's presentation is properties of vector spaces. In last video, we defined the vector spaces with the help of basic concepts of abstract algebra. Let us see what is the scope of this presentation today. We will be discussing vector space revisited, means I will be reintroducing you the vector space. We will move through these important properties of vector spaces and we will come to the final end of the presentation with solved problems on the topic. What are the learning outcomes of this presentation? After studying the contents, you will be able to define vector space in abstract manner, means in the form of some properties of algebraic structures, and you will be able to answer small questions based upon the properties we are going to study, and finally you will be able to apply the properties of such spaces in subsequent topics and related problems. So just refresh the definition of vector space. We had considered the set V and another set of F as a field with two compositions, F and G. F is the composition for addition and G is the composition for multiplication. And we denoted the vector space by VF, and these are the 9 properties which a set should satisfy for becoming a vector space. So not going much into details, these are the 5 properties of commutative groups, and these are properties in addition to the properties satisfied by a group. First property we are going to take is the existence of zero vector, and when it is multiplied by a scalar A, it gives the zero vector itself. So we will be using the basic properties we studied in the first lecture on the vector spaces, where we considered various properties like commutative property, identity, inverse, etc. So whatever information is given in the problem statement, that where VF be a vector space over a field F and 0 be the null vector or zero vector in it, then A dot zero vector is again a zero vector for all arbitrary A in F. So we can write with the help of additive identity of a vector space, because the vector space V satisfies 5 properties, and out of which one is the additive identity. So we have taken the left hand side and have written this A dot 0 plus 0. This implies that the left hand side is equal to A dot 0 plus A dot 0, and this is the distributive property. Multiplication distributes the addition. Now, as we can always add the inverse on both the sides of an equation in vectors, so I have added this minus A dot 0 to both the sides, so that it becomes this type of expression with the help of associative property. This I have combined minus A dot 0 with this A dot 0, and I have kept this A dot 0 aside. So if I again apply the property of inverse of an element, additive inverse of an element, I can write 0 equal to 0 plus A dot 0, which is equal to again A dot 0. So in this way, if we add a zero vector to another vector, it gives me the same vector. Hence, this property is satisfied. So we have proved that A dot 0 is equal to 0 vector. We have kept this bar over 0 to differentiate it from the scalar 0, because otherwise it will be very confusing. Next, we take property number 2. The property number 2 says if I multiply scalar 0 to a vector, it gives me 0 vector. So again, I can use the additive identity of 0 in the field, so that we can write 0 plus 0 into u, and this is equal to 0 into u. This further implies that the multiplication of a vector with the sum of two scalars distribute, so 0u, 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 and this further implies that 0u plus 0u equal to 0u plus 0 vector. Now I use the cancellation law for vectors. Left cancellation, I cancel this term with this term, so it will be giving me 0 into u equal to 0 bar, that is the 0 vector. So with this we can prove that when a scalar is multiplied by vector u, it gives me 0 vector. So this is the second important and small property which will be used in the later slides. Third property is that when we multiply a scalar by the additive inverse of a vector u, it becomes equal to the additive inverse of scalar multiplied by the vector u itself, where this a belongs to this field f and u belongs to the set of vectors v. In proving this property, we are using the property number 2, that is when a scalar is multiplied by vector gives us the 0 vector. I write this 0 vector as sum of a vector and its additive inverse. I can always do that, and using the distributive property of multiplication distributes is addition, so I can write a into minus u plus au. Left hand side is 0 as it is, and right hand side will be a times minus u plus au. Now we know that a times minus u is the additive inverse of au. I can always equate this additive inverse equal to this one, and using the property of associativity of real number, I can always write minus inside and multiply it by a so that it becomes u. So doing this means using the associativity of real numbers, that minus 1 multiplied by a, it is kept within the bracket and u is taken out. So here we can claim that the multiplication of a scalar with the additive inverse of a vector is equal to multiplication of additive inverse of a scalar with vector. So this is another important property number 3. Next we come to property number 4. What does this property state? It states that when a scalar is multiplied by the difference of two vectors u minus v, it again distributes. Not only addition is distributed, negative sign is also distributed, and as I have already said, that negative is nothing but the addition of a negative number or additive identity of another vector to a given vector. So in proving this, we are using this fact that for any u and v in V and a in F, we can always write a times, that is the left hand side, a times u minus v equal to a plus bracket minus v. This is the additive inverse of positive vector v. So this is equal to au plus av, where we have used the distributive property of vector space. Now we use the earlier property of vector space, that is property number 3, where we have proved that multiplication of a scalar with additive inverse of a vector is equal to the multiplication of additive inverse of a real number with the vector. So these two terms are equal from the property number 3. So I have written it like this. Now we can use the associative property that minus 1 into a equal to into v can be written as minus taken out, and a and v can be combined together. So doing this, we can write this term equal to this one. So here we can claim that this left hand side a bracket u minus v is equal to au minus av. This statement is that the multiplication distributes the difference of two vectors. Next, property number 5. This property is the most important property of vector spaces, where we prove that the product of a scalar with vector is equal to 0, means that either A is 0 or U is a 0 vector for all A belonging to F and U belonging to V. And this property will be used in many of the problems we are going to discuss in the forthcoming slides. To prove this property, we divide the entire proof into two parts. One is the main part and second one is the converse part. For a vector space, we can always write AU equal to 0 vector and consider that A is not equal to 0. What does it mean? When A is not equal to 0, its multiplicative inverse always exists, as this is a field, because A is taken from the set A, F, which is a field, and field is an abelian group with respect to multiplication, and hence A inverse exists. So what do we do is, we multiply this equation by A inverse on the left hand side as well as on the right hand side. So this is A inverse A and it is A inverse. This is equal to 1. This is the property of a field. If I use this property in this equation, AU equal to 0 vector, I can write A inverse bracket AU and A inverse bracket 0 vector. When we multiply 0 vector by any scalar, it is always 0 vector, which we have already proved in property number 1. On the left hand side, I can use the associative property of vector space, where I can write A inverse A together with U equal to 0. So this implies that 1 into U equal to 0 because it is the property of the field. So 1 into U is again U, and U is equal to U vector, null vector. 1 into U is equal to only U is the last property a vector space should satisfy. So we have used that property and we have come to the conclusion that if A is not equal to 0, then U has to be 0. On the other hand, if we assume that U is not equal to 0 and we have to prove that A is 0. So what do we do exactly? We prove it by the method of contradiction. We assume that AU equal to 0 means AU not equal to 0, and if possible, we consider that A is also not equal to 0. Then A inverse will exist, because for every non-zero element in F, there exists multiplicative inverse. So I can write this statement AU equal to 0 vector implies A inverse times AU equal to A inverse times null vector. So if I again use the associative property which a vector space must satisfy, I can write A inverse AU equal to 0 bar, and this gives me U equal to 0, but it is the contradiction of the assumption we have stated earlier in the beginning of the proof. So here, what does it mean exactly? We have considered that A is not equal to 0. So by taking A not equal to 0, we have come to the conclusion that U is equal to 0. But in the beginning, we have taken U not equal to 0. Hence, we have to have or must have A equal to 0 in order to make this product A dot U equal to 0. So both the parts combinedly state that the product of a vector and a scalar is 0, then either of the two, or either scalar or vector, will be 0 for all arbitrary A belonging to F and U belonging to V. So this property is very important because it will be used in proving various theorems of subspaces. Next we come to 6. It is AU equal to BU implies A equal to B, and this is known as right cancellation law of vector space. For any arbitrary numbers A and B in F and a non-zero vector U, we have taken it purposefully because if we take a zero vector, then the result will be trivial. We want to prove the non-trivial results, and for that we have to consider U to be a non-zero vector. And AU equal to BU, where U is non-zero vector, we can always add the additive inverse on both the sides in an equation, so that it becomes AU minus BU equal to BU minus BU. A vector is subtracted from itself, or if we add the additive inverse of a vector in itself, it always gives me 0 vector. So left hand side, with the help of previous properties, I can write a minus b u equal to 0. But when u is not equal to 0, the last property number 5 says if the product is 0, then either of them will be 0. But here we have taken that u is a non-zero vector, so this bracket term a minus b will be 0, and this says that a equal to b. We cannot write directly a minus b equal to 0 as a equal to b. The step in between this is that we have to add b on both the sides. On left hand side it will be minus b plus b a 0, and on the right hand side it will be 0 plus b equal to b. So doing this, a plus 0 will be a and 0 plus b will be b. So all the abstract properties of real numbers come to the conclusion that if au is equal to bu, then a is equal to b. The seventh and the last property we are going to consider is au equal to av, then it is u equal to v. In this property, we have taken a as a common part on both the sides, whereas in the earlier property number 6 we had taken the vector parts in. So if we could prove the scalar part same in this property and the vector part in the previous property, then we will be in a position to say that we have completely defined the vector space. So for any arbitrary a in F and non-zero vectors u and v in V, we can write au equal to au for a not equal to 0. This is a scalar which is non-zero. And this again, this a not equal to 0 is taken purposefully. We can always add the inverse on both the sides, minus av on both the sides. This is au equal to av. This is not u, it is v. So au minus av equal to av minus av, and the difference will always be a 0 vector. If I take this a common, or we can use the reverse distributive property, a bracket u minus v is 0, and since we are given that a is not equal to 0, we have u minus v equal to 0. As I said in the last property that we cannot write directly u equal to v in this case. What we have to do that we use the abstract property, we add on v on both the sides so that it is u minus v plus v equal to 0 plus v. So on this side it is v minus v plus v 0, and u plus a 0 vector will be again a vector u itself, and on the right hand side 0 vector when added to v, it is the vector v. So we can claim that if au is equal to av, then u is always equal to v for a not equal to 0. So the purpose we have taken for this a not equal to 0 is served. Thank you very much.